sails in the tempest of night, guided by a star, his eternal light. This ship of faith may creak and groan, but I'll not abandon this vessel's neon. Heave ho, ye doubters, cast your stones. I'll weather your scorn with me, flesh and bones. For though the waves may batter and
passages that have similar themes, and it's called midrash. That's how they put together what they envisioned of their celestial Messiah, because they couldn't win on the battlefield. They couldn't make up a myth of a worldly victorious Messiah, but they could read the scriptures and see a suffering Messiah that was rejected by his people and then goes to the Gentiles. So that's where the plan came from reading it from the scriptures. And the objective was to have all of the nations cut down their trees, their idols, and then have them worship the God of Israel in fear of the God and his chosen, basically. And that's what happened. Rabbis brag about it. That's what the prophecies were. That's what happened. It's all completely, kosher today for the most part. And that's the whole.
I guess that's it. But I mean,
Interesting.
it's clashing of ideas, clashing of worldviews out in the open. There was no mod there. They had a respectful discussion.
Can you summarize this Adam Green's guy position for me?
Dude, Adam Green's like a freaking dude. He's all about exposing the Jews. He's all about liberating Hitler and the Nazis. Right? Reassessing history.
Oh, dude, he's a Nazi
He's a
sympathizer.
Hitler apologist. Yeah, he's a
oh
Nazi
my
sympathizer.
God.
But it's all good, bro. Like, there's a lot of people out there like that. But I don't. If that's on them, you know what I mean. I know that the numbers are embellished, dude. I know that. But how much are people willing to accept? That's on them, dude. I'm not gonna hold them accountable for something that I'm not even sure about the numbers. I'm not accountable, but judge them is what I meant to say.
Well, at least I don't honestly, dude. I understand where the apologists are coming from, and that topic requires a lot of evidence. Like if you're gonna say that Winston Churchill was actually the real, how we like we think Hitler was the bad guy, and it was actually Winston Churchill. I could see that case being made that there's like some aristocrats that are Ashkenazi and Sephardic and all that stuff. I'm not an expert.
But yeah, he doesn't like the fact that people are Christians because they think Christ is a Jewish myth. That Christ was a Jewish Messiah, so people who accept Jesus as their Messiah are under a Jewish spell. That's Adam Green's stance. And him and Witz are going back and forth. I've never seen that. That's my first time seeing that, dude. I was just scrolling down on like YouTube or something. I don't know what that was. TikTok or YouTube. But yeah.
Oh man, dude, this fucking Ring camera. I'm trying to set up a Ring camera.
What are you doing over here? Yo, it looks like you rendering a video. Oh, you see. Is that Casper? Is that Casper Patel?
What do you know about Dionysus? Dude, this thing doesn't have any way to like fasten it to the wall. Like, what am I missing?
I like stuff like this. What is that? That artifact they found? Six fingers? You saying he got 6 fingers?
I'm only counting 5.
I can't see. I can't see. I'm just saying. And what you said, an extra appendage? I'm gonna try to open your screen up. Hold on. Now I can see a little better. Now I can see better. Look at the tits on that, dude. The rack on that angel, dude.
That's a fertility
Yeah.
goddess for sure.
What's going on, man, dude?
Dionysus. So before Jesus, there
Diana
was
of Ephesus. Wow.
Ephesians.
Yeah, dude. The
Oh shit.
the Ephesians, dude. There's the horned god.
Yeah, she got the Taurus down there. But yeah, Dionysian cults would celebrate in a frenzy and tear apart animals in a sacrifice, and they celebrated with wine and blood.
Drink my blood.
Oh boy, I'm supposed to be retiring.
Blood.
Yo, people say that people say that when cats play with their food, like when they bat a mouse around with their claws and like terrorize it, that they're not doing it to increase the adrenaline in the mouse so their blood tastes different. But I think that's exactly what they're doing. They actually prefer terrorized flesh rather than not terrorized.
Preferably.
Dude, the thing
If
about
you have it in
vampires.
stock.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
This is a topic that I don't hear. You know, I hate, you're gonna make me say it all right now, dude. These flat Earth servers are dominant. They're like mostly white. So the topic about white people were the people that went underground during the Ice Age, and then they emerged as cannibals with pale skin. Like when you say this, it's like, yeah, of course it sounds racist. But like, why wouldn't that be a potential thing? That like when the Ice Age hit, people went underground. What's so hard to conceive about that? And then there's no plant life, so then they were eating animals and bugs. You know,
How long though?
I would say more than I think that there's an entire society of humans that live underground that never interact with the surface people.
Like still today.
Yeah, man, like Agartha, dude. There's a movie called The Time Machine. Have you ever seen this?
I like movies like that, but I don't remember exactly which movie you're talking about.
In the movie, this dude's wife dies while he's like on a walk in the park. So he builds a time machine to go back in time. He ends up going like a million years into the future where like there's like these vampire creatures underground that pop out to eat the people on the surface that are pretty much just like, indigenous hunter-gatherer type people. But the concept of
I don't. Yeah. Well, but
yeah,
hold on. So you think thousands of years though? You think they were just underground for thousands of years, or?
I think that's what okay, so in Egypt is a tropic region during the ice age, right? The equator is the warmest part of the earth. So whenever the ice age hit, Egypt kept thriving. Before the ice age hit, like in the northern regions, I think that there was like all types of, civilizations. The ice age hit or a flood, or, it could have been like of biblical proportions. They went underground. Some are still, that lineage is still underground today. Sometimes they come up above the surface, and yeah, it's just speculation. But you talk about this in Earth Awakening, everybody, shut up, and then they go mock the Jamaican dude. Like, yeah, like I can't say this, but they could like make fun of iStar, like, come on, Grada.
Wait, what happened, dude? What I miss? I've been listening, but you said something about EA.
I'm saying like, okay, I'm a truth seeker, right? So like on my journey, I think that there's potential for there to have been like a cataclysmic event. People went underground, and that lineage is still underground, and some of them came up and they lost the pigmentation of their skin. They were cannibalizing underground, and maybe they could extend their life hundreds of years because of bloodletting. Like this, all the lore about vampires, like that is what it is. They
It could
can't touch
happen. I mean,
sunlight.
I could see that happening, and there's definitely resets. And the timeline has to be like reasonable for me. Can't be like hundreds of thousands of years. That's why I'm wondering on the timeline. But dude, there's definitely mountain people. There was subterranean chambers since before the flood. But I'm not sure about what'd you call it? Argartha.
Yeah, inner Earth.
So yeah, Argartha or New Schwabland, or no, it's called Asgard, right?
Yeah.
Asgard,
Yep.
all the Earth stuff with the Nazis. Is that what you're talking about?
Slightly. Yeah, dude. I think Hitler. If there's any truth to the lore about Hitler, when he had all the expenses and the military budget to just go explore, when he went to the North Pole and he came back saying, "Yo, there's a hole over there," they pretty much just were like, "Well, stop talking about it," and that's when they demonized him. Dude, I got to be completely real. I don't agree with the mainstream narrative about Hitler. Like they paint him as a horrible, murderous man, and I think that he could have been very expeditious when it came to exploration. Like he could have been like all over the planet discovering things, and then they wanted to, you know, denounce his discoveries. That could have been a thing.
I mean that could be the case, and I'm not saying that Hitler was just completely the guy that the media tells us either. He had his reasons. Some things were exaggerated, but he did go crazy, bro. He was doing too much experimental drugs. He ended up getting like Parkinson's. He had the shakes, dude. At the end of his life, he knew his time was up, dude. He was losing the war, dude.
He was
had
on that.
Parkinson's.
Yeah.
He had the shakes, dude.
Parkinson's is pretty interesting. Did you guys see like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's are linked to possible like bioweapons developed by Hitler, or the top SS rather?
No, dude. What?
Yeah, it's crazy. The idea of like neurological dilapidation in the mind could be connected to these, like the Havana syndrome or something else. Joseph Farrell has published a couple papers on his website talking about the projects that they actually we know they worked on that were connected to trying to create neurological diseases so they could like have people naturally forget, so they didn't have to kill people, and like it was a national security technique. With dilapidation of the mind, they could say was just natural. They apparently tried testing it on World War II, like intel officers, the communications officers. A lot of them. There's a significant amount of American officers that came home and were abusive to their family. Some pretty horrible examples of the abuse, if you can think as bad as that could be. So it seems to do something to the mind also, where it's like they kind of become more like animals before they fall into Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or a total loss of their identity. It's fucking crazy.
The people that wrote the Talmud were vampires. I mean, they justify like wild things. They say things like, you sleep with a 3-year-old. It's like the same thing as eating a piece of bread. I don't know exactly what it says. I would have to go back, but I remember ripping my earphones out while listening to the audiobook.
I've read books that people published, like How to Kill Werewolves, How to Kill Vampires, and they totally like break it down. It's not very little to do with like what we've seen in the movies and shit. These creatures are like,
Yo, the movies are in place. Yeah, the humans make it seem fantastical. It's like it's stripping the reality of these themes from like the normal person's mind. They're gonna look at it, oh, it's just vampires and werewolves. It's just movies. But nah.
Yeah, something creepy, some deeper secret reality of those things. And I'll make one of the best physical examples is like a serial killer. They figure out that drinking blood after a kill gets them really high. It'd be like an animal in nature. They kill an animal and they consume the blood and they get high from it. That's actually part of the carnivore's rush for a kill. It makes a lot of sense humans would have some sort of adaptation to that as well. Even if it's, more of a demonic or evil path.
Yeah, like God gave us like if we had to, we could survive on flesh. Like an understudy.
Oh, you're a vegan, right, bro? Right?
I'm not vegan, dude. I can't sustain a vegan lifestyle with my budget. But I wish I was. I wish I could afford being the vegan I want to be. I just had eggs and bacon for breakfast.
Hell
yeah. Yeah, bacon. I mean, I wouldn't eat bacon, but turkey bacon.
Turkey bacon's what I eat.
But that's not the best bacon either. Turkey bacon from like Walmart or Price Chopper, bro, is not that. It's kind of bad for you, dude. Honestly, dude.
Do you eat beef and pork?
I love beef, dude. Yeah, I just ate beef today, this morning. Soup.
I think that red meat could be taking these older people out.
The cured bacon's pretty gnarly. I'm not, what's it called? The uncured, unsalted version is, I think it's pretty healthy, but you're still eating the pig meat, which is, I worry a little bit about where we're at with pig meat.
Oh my goodness, dude. I
Yeah.
could never, dude.
Yeah.
Uncured, like uncooked. You said.
No, it's not uncured. It's like the process they do to bacon or whatever. It's like a.
Oh my God.
I can't. I should know.
Dude, Rusted is on Witsit's helmet again in Earth Awakenings, dude. I
His helmet.
can't. I can't. Yeah, whatever. I don't know if I should fucking go participate. Nah, I can't. Man. I gotta stick to my
Back in there, let me
vows.
see.
Gotta cave in, dude.
Is she
Temptation.
back in there? She's not in there.
She's not in EA.
Let me see.
Why she just tell me?
Nah, dude, I can't. Nah, dude,
I'm not trying to hear nothing
I
about that anymore, honestly.
I can't stand her voice, dude. She's annoying, dude. People can't stand my voice either, but feelings of
Nah,
mutual.
you're good.
But no,
People
yo,
can't stand it. That's not fair. You got a
Yeah.
good speaking voice, actually, but whatever.
is that her?
Nah, it's Blob.
Is that Rusty Soul? No, yeah, she knows I don't like it, dude. I try to. I'm respectful though. I am. She still
Dude.
be acting up.
Witsit
ahead.
was lumping me in with fucking Rusted Soul. Like,
you
oh,
and
Rusted.
Rust and the whole Rust is so
Yo.
cool, dude.
I know. I'm like, what
It's
the fuck?
it's the whole. No, I'm just playing.
No,
I
I
wasn't there for
appreciate
that,
it.
but I heard.
I'm like, hey, lump me in there, even though I help you out with it. But
Y'all had a couple other feces maxers.
Don't let you
that
gotta
had,
tell
like,
Witsit
stock
you're not
accounts.
part of that, dude.
What happened to the other feces maxers when I first joined EA again back in like 2023?
they fucking all died, dude. They ate feces and died.
Yeah, there was like
Yo,
way
Rust
more
is
of
so-
y'all.
Yo, listen. Rust is so definitely been hopping around the Discord homies. I know that.
Really?
Oh, what do you know about that? I mean, I already know about it, but I don't care.
Nothing.
Oh,
I
her
just.
and Witsit got
It's.
some
I
tension.
already forgot, dude. All the stuff that I heard, I already forgot. All I know is that she already hopped at least 2 guys, at least. Who knows, dude? That's all I know.
Man, what
She
else is
starts
there,
pounding.
bro? That's all good. Every girl is like. Let me know when you find a girl that isn't like that.
You're right. They're all like that, dog. But
Yeah.
she has a bad reputation. I wouldn't take her testimony very credible.
She's the queen of the anti-truthers, bro. She's the leader.
To be affiliated with her, dude, would be such a. I don't know, dude. I feel bad for Level Up.
Dude, honestly, it's because of that song that I made. Like, that shit still is irritating Witsit. So he's like, even though, dude, that's like the one video that they got taken down off Rusted Soul's channel. They said it
Which
was
one?
like the music video or the song that I made where I'm like,
Yeah.
The
Oh, it's, now I
Witsit
understand. It's
spit on
personal.
his wife.
yeah.
Oh, it's
They
personal.
took that shit
dude.
down? Nah. That was a banger.
Yeah, and it had nothing like, it had nothing that isn't in her other videos. So like,
I heard that yesterday. You said something about he spit on his wife or something.
You heard
I
me
didn't
say
say
that?
shit. No, I didn't say shit.
I said something about it.
Oh, it was Jesse.
Because I'm getting gaslighted because I'm trying to not do this thing anymore, bro. I'm trying to retire. But yeah, that's my position. Dude, they were talking about Witsit comes in here and he's like a personality on YouTube and he gets death threats and he's doing all this stuff for us. Like, why did people? And I was like, where was all this sympathy for Kai when Witsit? Like everybody just jumps with his defense, whatever he
You're
does. But
hot.
like,
Why would you say that, dude? Oh my god.
because it's true. Like nobody thinks that matters. Something like that matters. You know, whatever. I'm different. I don't care.
I mean, if anything,
It's
like, we're on Witsit's side with that. With the domestic dispute.
You know that white dude? You know that white dude that at that Thanksgiving dinner with his family, bro? He just like gets offended and flips the whole table over.
Yeah.
That's like that's type of reaction. Like, why would you do something like that, dude? Why would you flip the whole Thanksgiving table over?
Dude, there is no Thanksgiving when it comes to Like, you really think I'm at the table? I am not at a table with none of these people. I'm not. I don't get to hang out after and have seconds and sit for dessert. No, I'm not in there. Why would I give a fuck? But I'm over it at this point. I'm actually telling you that I'm retired. Like, I'm literally
Nah, I like
hanging
that.
it up.
That's good. He's not gonna flip the table over anymore for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but if all you guys that act like Wissa isn't grifting and scamming, I I don't agree with you. Like, he definitely has gotten over people based off of, I'm doing it for flat Earth. Like, I just need a little bit of money, and then I can, like, for flat Earth. Like, how many times has he pulled people's legs, dude? It's crazy.
What's up, Oscar?
What's up, guys? What are we doing in here?
I'm testing
I'm
my
retired.
first stream on YouTube, so
Wait, you a streamer, Tanks? I didn't know that.
Tank is becoming a feces maxer.
I am today. I just
He's gonna
got
start
that set up.
feces maxing on stream, dude. What do you think?
Bro,
I think this is like the most disgusting meme I've ever heard of in my entire life. Come on.
I don't know if this is legal on YouTube. Can you say feces maxing? Testing.
Of course.
Feces maxing. Banned instantly. Dude, I'm now 4.5 hours deep in how do I say his name? Ajonas? Is that his first name?
It's like the word homogenous, but just take the hum out.
Ajonas.
Yep.
He's not a government plant because his name is Augenis Bonder Planet. That seems totally legitimate.
Yeah.
I love throwing myself off of balconies. That's what I like doing. Big fan of that. Well, here's the catch, though. I haven't heard anybody actually be able to steelman the juice. Like, if you actually look at what Ajonas is showing, he's showing that there's conditions where good and bad bacteria can actually grow. So, like, the pasteurization process and cooking meat create the conditions for bad bacteria. So, like, raw meat or raw fat or anything unpasteurized or uncooked actually doesn't grow any harmful bacteria on it. It doesn't have the enzymes available to do it. It doesn't exist. And the test that they created to test that is totally falsified because they spiked pasteurized versus unpasteurized with toxins in order to create their results rather than doing any sort of live effort. So it's actually really interesting. It's hard to.
The thing is,
ignore it.
people can call him a government shill or whatever, but there's literally nobody who can ever argue against, like, not even one thing he says. Like, you can't disprove him on even one thing. And the people who have a problem with anything he says, like, there's people who think he's wrong about, like, salt or fasting or saturated fat. But there is no concise, collected, like, every single person that has a problem with Augenis, they bring up something different. Like, one person thinks he's wrong about salt. One person thinks he's wrong about this other thing. There's no consistent, like, criticism. It's just people going, oh, that's weird. And then it's like they don't even like, there's a whole shitload of people who are wrong about health. But when people think Augenis is incorrect about something, they go, oh, he's a shill. They don't think, oh, he's just incorrect because he's such a fucking genius. Nobody assumes that he's wrong about anything. They go, oh, he's lying.
No,
No
man,
one does that with anyone
I'm
else.
just trolling. I think it's funny that, like, Truth or Flat Earther would, like, look up to a guy named Bonder Planet. But I've said it before. I don't even eat meat. But if I was
Hey,
having, like,
planets are real.
if I was having serious health issues, I've said it before and I mean it, I would probably ask you as one of the first people of, okay, what can I do to fix this?
Yep.
Yo, Blab, you heard what I said to Witsit last night?
I did, yeah.
Not good enough. I don't. No stamp of approval.
they're speaking
I
for, like,
felt
2
like it was kind of unnecessary, but I mean, it was funny. I laughed.
Wait, what did you say? What did I miss? They're speaking for like 2 hours right now. Taylor and Galatrax defending Witsit about whether or not he lied.
Yeah. Jesse said a couple things. He was like, "Oh, but you spit on your wife." Like you just brought that up, and then
That's so fucked up.
he said some other stuff about like, "Oh, you're scamming." And yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, I really wasn't saying shit. I mean, what is the point of even trying to get the floor when we said it? Like anybody's gonna get the equal amount of floor that he gets. Relax.
Yeah, I still think people shouldn't bring up the spitting on his wife thing in public. I think, I don't know, it's a little bit
Yeah,
out of line.
everybody's so eager to protect the golden boy. He's such a good boy. Don't talk about it.
No, I
Oh
can't
no, but
stand
that's
with
it
that.
is
I'm just
it
saying
is
it's
a little
kind of
it's
inappropriate.
just yeah, it's unseemly, bro. It's distasteful. If that makes any sense. The reason I say that is
You
because,
got,
for
dude. He
example,
has this whole alpha. I know more than you. Take my advice, like energy about him. But like he don't even.
I get that. I get
You know, he
that.
kind of does. Because
He is a little puffed up at times. We can all get like that, but
Pretentious.
yeah, he's got a little following. You know, it is what it is, dude. But the thing is, dude, everybody's been through trauma. People have been through domestic disputes, dude. A lot of people, dude. It's very common. It's actually right now. You know, 60% of the prison population, maybe more than 60%, are domestic disputes, dude. Did you know that?
I didn't.
makes sense.
Well, at least in my area, because I remember they gave us the statistics, dude. It's like, dude, everybody
Yeah.
was in there because of domestics, bro. Either fighting with family members or their wives or their girlfriends and shit, dude. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I wouldn't judge Whitsitt for that. If anything, I just think Kai is insane, and I'm like on his side now. This guy's crazy.
So, like, yeah, man. I can't judge a man for things that he did with his exes in the past, like Chris Brown beating Rihanna, dude. Like, they still call him a woman beater, bro. You know what I mean? Like, he will forever be known as a woman
You know
beater.
the Bill Burr joke where he's like, "Well, what did she say before he started hitting her?"
No, it's just the hypocrisy of him getting arrested for a domestic dispute at the same time that he's promoting a life reset that includes relationship advice. It's just pure hypocrisy.
Well, sometimes you gotta.
Oh, thanks, Osco, because these guys are trying to make me sound out of line. But that's it right there.
No, yeah, it's all right. People, it's what you guys are saying is facts, but it's like he who is without sin throw the first stone, you know. And bro, like, dude, I've had a girl cut the wheel when I was driving, bro. I had to backhand her one time, dude.
Dude, I was in the back
Like,
seat
what
with
do you?
this girl.
Oh, now you're gonna
No,
use that for the
all
rest of my
right.
life, bro? Okay, whatever. Life goes on, and what? Like, you know what I mean?
Dude, I was in the back seat. Dude, I don't even know. I just jumped in the back seat because like people wanted to go somewhere, whatever. This girl's driving drunk. She's going like 50 miles an hour in a residential. I punched her in the fucking side of the head. Like, you're not about to risk my life today.
Well,
I thought I was gonna die. Like, I was trying to get her to pull over. She was just like, she gunned it. She like stepped on it even more. Like, haha, this is funny that you're scared. Fucking punched her in the head, bro.
Dude, you know, people don't understand, dude. I don't know.
So you're saying I should never bring it up again? You're saying it's petty, it's no reason, it's not good stuff?
I'll confess my sins publicly, bro. You know, we're told to confess each other's sins. I've already repented of my sins, but as a sinner myself, I can recognize somebody else and their downfalls or their shortcomings, whatever, and I have to constantly throw it in their face, dude.
Yeah, it's all about what Osco said. Like, you present yourself like you just got everything figured out. It's just too much irony there.
But yeah, if he's asking for it like that, I can see it. Right? I can see that naturally happening because once you start acting puffed up, it's like you're looking for people to pick you apart and look for something, a blemish somewhere you know, because you're acting haughty.
All right, I respect the opinion. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Blob. Thanks, Lion. I'm never gonna bring up Witsit spitting on his wife again.
Nah, but yo, no, if he needs to get checked, you gotta check the dude. But I feel like, bro, people have already checked him enough with this stuff, dude. Like, they keep bringing it up, dude. What if he killed himself, dude? God forbid.
Well, and we just don't really know what happened. I mean, we don't know if he actually spit on her. We don't know what the situation was. Was she being violent towards him? Did he grab her wrist because she was freaking out? It wouldn't surprise me at all if Kai was being a complete crazy person and he had to put her in line a little bit. So it's like we don't know what happened. So to air it publicly seems, I don't know, weird.
Every time it's been brought up to him, he said he didn't do it. He said he didn't spit on her. So
I would just confess it, like, you know, whatever, dude. Think what you want of me, and just keep streaming, dude. You can't help it. You're gonna lose people along the way, bro. Life goes on, dude.
I mean, some people spit when they yell. You know, I mean, I'm just, you know.
No, but I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. My biggest problem with Witsit is not anything he said or done. My biggest problem with Witsit is the people who prop him up as a cult-like leader. It's like people need to be aware that they're following a hypocrite. That doesn't mean that Witsit's like inherently some deep evil person, because I don't think he is. You know, he's just a hypocrite internet personality, and people shouldn't like follow him like a cult leader.
I agree. I have no qualms with that. Idolatry, and I see that, like, idol worship, bro. People like look up to Witsit, oh, like yes men. But I've never been like a yes man, but I do defend Witsit because I see his true intentions. But I also see him as a flawed human being. I never propped him up. I never put him on a pedestal. I always seen him as my peer. So if people put him on a pedestal, that's on them. I don't think, you know, he's my peer.
All right, all
I don't
right.
put him
You know,
up.
I have more issues that I don't get to talk about. Like when he debated Professor Dave, the question came up about counter rotation around the South Celestial Pole. And Witz's response was, I'm looking in a different direction. Like as if like you flip a 6 upside down, that like it's gonna be an upside down 6 now. Like that is just such a blatant, like, how could you be so incorrect? The counter rotation observed is not rotating around Polaris. It's around Sigma Octantis in the south. So to just say like, oh, a 6 will appear upside down depending on which way you're facing, you're not even looking at the same set of stars. So like to try to like say that in a debate, like it's like, you know, there's flat earthers out there that don't know that's not the answer, but
Yeah,
you're
it's
gonna
just
say it anyway. Like
it's a
come on.
complete lie and a debate bro tactic is all that was. He knew that he could say something like that, even though he knew it wasn't true. And the people who supported him would think, oh, yeah, he totally got Professor Dave.
Like stuff like that is just super disingenuous. You can't say like such blatant lies thinking I'm a fall for you. Like you must think I'm dumb. Like I'm watching your debate, I'm a flat earther. You say something like that, you think I'm gonna fall for that, so you're just disrespecting my intelligence. So now, like, you know, I guess that's when I think the gloves are off. Like, if you really think that I'm that dumb to fall for that shit.
It's debate bro shit, man. A lot of people do that on all sides of all different types of issues. Their entire purpose is to like win the debate, and so they will say like blatant falsehoods or misrepresent stuff, so that way they can quote unquote win the debate. It's just sleazy. I mean, lots of people do that, especially like the Christianity logic bros.
What are they talking about now? They're in there, right?
It's PhD Tony, dude. He's in there.
Like, are you guys watching EA? Is that what he's streaming in here?
No, I'm not watching. I'm just wondering if you were in there or not, because PhD Tony Witsit's in there.
How does everybody feel about the troop deployment in Portland?
Didn't even know about it. What happened?
Well, we got a little bit of kind of a escalation. Trump has he's officially deployed troops on the ground. Like, it's not just National Guard now; it's fucking full regalia over there.
I mean, why? Is there like a big protest happening or what?
Yeah, it's the people burning and looting the city and resisting cops. None of the cops are able to employ any control. So Trump called them and said, if you can't control your city, I'm going to send troops. And he gave him like another 24 hours, and then he just announced he's sending troops.
What are they protesting about?
It is the whole ICE stuff. It just keeps escalating and escalating. They keep finding new places to start a riot against ICE's progress. I'm thinking
To figure out where I'm going to drill these holes.
like Comey just getting arrested. 19 activated National Guard or states with activated National Guard. One state with troops on the ground. And this is an environment I don't think it'd be hard to explain that this would be coming, like 10 months ago. People are like, it's just not even possible.
I just can't imagine protesting that we're not letting enough illegal immigrants in. Think about how, like, out of your mind you have to be to burn down your own city because they're kicking illegal people out of our country. It's just so retarded, man.
Yeah. It's like a ultimate form of virtue signaling.
Yeah, I'm going to burn down my home because I'm mad that illegal people can't overrun my home.
I'm going to destroy my house since you guys won't let everyone get access to it. It's like, what the hell? Wild to see. I really do think we've had like a straight up invasion in our country with all this immigration. And we're seeing it play out in the UK. We're seeing it play out in other countries. And they're acting dumb. They're playing stupid. They're like, oh, we got to create the solution of digital ID to the problem we created.
I mean, I kind of agree and I kind of don't. Like, we need a shit ton of immigrants in our country. And so I just wish like some professional people would say, this is how many immigrants we need in construction. This is how many immigrants we need in, agriculture, so on and so forth. And then let those people in legally, or even seasonally, and then send them back home. Like, so we do need a shit ton of workers coming in.
How much is a shit
Why do we
ton?
need them again?
I don't think.
To say what?
I'm imagining like more than 1 million when you say that.
Yeah, it's hard for me to grant. I don't think we need them at all.
Why do we need them at all again? Just curious.
I mean, I work in construction, and like 90% of the workers are Mexicans. A lot of them are illegal Mexicans. So it's like, if they weren't doing the job, no one would be doing it.
I think somebody would be doing the job, man.
No, dude. White people are not going to go frame a house for 14 hours a day for $20 an hour. There's no way.
Want to bet?
Well, they might do it without drinking alcohol on the job.
If white people would do it, they would be doing it. They just don't do it. I mean,
No, the market doesn't allow it to be economical for them to do it, so they don't do it.
You think that there's just like crews of white people that are just waiting to come frame your house, but like
Yeah, I think there would be if we didn't displace our own people.
Do you know how hard it is to be in the sun for 14 hours a day framing a house or roofing a house? It's fucking miserable. And like most people don't want to do that, but Mexicans will do it because they will make a bunch of money that they can send back home.
Tens of thousands of white people do it every day for their own businesses, and they bitch about the fact that they have to compete with low-cost labor from Mexican work squads that are illegally
All day they got to bitch about that.
Yep.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Work for the businesses we build for cheap labor. Hell yeah, but
I'm not saying they're ready to go do that job right now, but like if we don't create a path for us to do this job, we might as well just hang ourselves.
yeah.
I don't know, man. I think if you were to try to, create a crew of 8 Mexicans or 8 white people to roof a house 6 days a week for, 8 to 12 hours a day, you would not be able to find that crew of white people in your hometown.
Do you think the white people would show up to work every day?
Not at 6 o'clock in the morning and work till 6 at night.
Or do you think that job is also because of the mistreatment of their illegal activity? Like who wants to work 6 to 6 anyway? What the fuck is that?
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
What's funny is, as I fucking dude, I'm a plasterer. I've done exterior decorative plastering on roofs forever. I'm like the guy you're describing.
It's good work. I mean,
Well-
like the Hyundai plant and other, it scales all the way up. All these companies are taking advantage of really cheap labor, where these jobs will be available to Americans, and they would be forced to pay what they're worth, and it's just blatant.
And the money's not even staying here. We're giving them the money and then just sending it back to whatever the fuck country they came from.
Yeah, that's why
I will say this though, bro. There's something about, like, for some reason these dudes with the A-frame scaffolding, they're so comfortable, like they're balanced. They're comfortable on standing on just wooden boards, like fucking 2x8s. Like they'll just set up like 3 A-frames and just like 20-foot fucking 2x8s, and they'll just like fucking finish a whole fucking job standing on some thin ass piece of wood. And like, I know white dudes won't do that. So
Yeah,
Okay,
it's just
well-
like just the other day, like Dyslo was like bitching because like they were making him like climb a 15-foot ladder, and he was like complaining to his boss that he had to like climb a tall ladder. Mexicans would not be complaining about that shit.
What about
I
Mormons?
think, yeah,
I would never, dude.
they're more acrobatic if that's really what's
What about
going on.
Mormons? Look at the power of white people. Just look at Mormons. How about that?
Here's what I would say is like I totally agree that like white people or American Native born Americans should get first dibs at jobs, but I think that there are a lot of jobs, specifically in construction and agriculture, that American white guys simply will not do and do not want to do, and so we should just import those workers from other countries, but we should import them legally, not just let them run across the border, work for 6 months, then go back home.
Nah, fuck them. Do it ourselves. Just because people don't want to do a job doesn't mean you shouldn't give them the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, dude, they won't do it. Like, I don't know. I've worked in and around construction my entire life. I can basically tell you with complete confidence that white guys are way worse than Mexican guys. For specific types of jobs. Like, if you're going to get someone to trim your house, you probably want a white guy and his crew to do it. But if you're going to get someone to roof your house, you're not going to find a bunch of white guys to do it.
That's funny. I just talked to a white guy about roofing my mom's house. Nice.
I will bet you any amount of money that if you hire him, he will bring a Mexican crew. Like the roofing contractors are all old white guys, and they just hire out a bunch of Mexicans to actually do the work.
I wonder why he has to do that.
It's not that he has to do that. It's because like he's the contractor. He will roof the house. He will charge you $3,000 or something, depending on how the house is. For
There's
his
another
commission-
reason.
Just real quick, for his commission to contract it out, and then he'll hire a crew of 6 Mexicans to come do it for $1,500. So the white guy will make double the amount of the 6 Mexicans who do all the work through the entire day, and all he does is put together a estimate.
That's money, not skill. So it's not a comparison of saying a white guy can't do the same skilled job or do it as efficiently. It's just that you know for a fact you're gonna be paying that white guy $3,000 and not $1,500.
I think there's another reason. It's got to do with subcontracting, because you don't want a bunch of guys on a job that aren't subcontractors, and you would have to pay them all at that rate. You're just gonna have a bunch of Mexicans do it and just turn a blind eye.
Yeah, if you could pay a bunch of Mexicans $12.50 an hour to roof the house compared to a guy who actually is like, registered to do that and he's not illegal and whatnot, and you'll be paying him about 30-something bucks an hour. So there's an advantage in, hiring 3 Mexicans for the price of 1 white guy.
Well, I would like to take this a route here. If you'll let me go for like a minute here. So I'm going to create a back and forth between a Joe Legal and a Joe Illegal. So imagine Joe Legal, $25 per hour, 40 hours a week, $1,000 per week. That's $52K a year. Take 31% away for state and federal taxes. Joe Legal now has 31.2. Joe Illegal, $15 an hour, 40 hours a week, $600 per week, or $31.2 a year. Joe Illegal pays no taxes. Joe Illegal now has 31.2. Joe Legal pays medical and dental insurance and limited coverage for his family at $600 per month or $7,200 per year. Joe Legal now has $24,000. Joe Illegal has full medical and dental coverage through the state and local clinics and emergency hospitals at a cost of $0 per year. His name is Jose, sorry, not Joe. Jose Illegal has $31,200 left still. Joe Legal makes too much money and is not eligible for food stamps or welfare. So Joe Legal spends $500 per month for food or $6,000 per year. Joe Legal now has $18K. Joe Illegal has no documented income and is eligible for food stamps, WIC, and welfare. Jose Illegal still has $31,200. And it just goes on and on and on. You know what I mean? I don't want to.
Yep.
So.
No, but that's why you make them legal. That's my whole point. Is you don't give them citizenship. We figure out, like, I don't know how, but we figure out how many construction workers we need, how many agriculture workers we need, so on and so forth. Like, how many jobs do we need to import from the South that, like, American citizens don't want to do? We give these people green cards or some sort of, like, temporary residency where they can come work. And part of that work is they have to pay taxes, so on and so forth. And they will be the ones roofing our houses and doing the jobs that white people and Americans don't want to do.
Yep.
That was exactly what Cesar Chavez was fighting for.
And that's already possible. So we get all the people that came in illegally and took our jobs, and we just keep doing what we were doing. If an immigrant wants to come here that's well-skilled and have a job, that's already possible.
Yeah, all I'm saying is we just need to decide and figure out exactly how many immigrants we need to do what specific jobs and then let those people come, not just let whoever shows up or sneaks across the border and crams 8 people into a 2-bedroom house, take all of the jobs.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say that. We already have a huge demographic percentage of the population in our country of young people who aren't skilled, or not really saying it that way, who aren't seeking higher skill or higher educational positions, and that could become apprentices on skilled jobs if those positions were open, could go work at a factory, do those things, but they don't have that availability because the position's already filled by people who aren't supposed to be filling those positions.
Maybe, but like, if you go to just some random 22-year-old and say, hey, you can make a really good living if you just go to trade school and become a plumber or even a welder or something like that, they're going to laugh in your face and they're going to say, I want to be a streamer or something like that. They're not going to go to trade school and become a plumber.
Okay, that's great, man. But like, we shouldn't stifle dissent, bro. If you want to just get rid of the United States, just do that instead of the slow way.
I don't think you're getting rid of the United States. It's a bunch of work has to be done. And if you send out all the workers, then that work is not going to get done.
We need to create a vacuum, in an internal vacuum, to support the nationalistic movement to get people to do their own things. They need to start activating the people. There's so many people in the United States, men especially, who go around with no fucking drive because they don't know what to do with themselves. Well, what do you know? We got all this shit we got to do.
Yep.
And if they're all busy doing shit, there's not going to be anybody watching their stupid ass stream. So they're going to have to do something, huh?
Well, I agree with that. If you could convince a bunch of young men to not go to college, get stupid degrees, and instead go to trade school and like work in construction, I think that would be a really good thing. But you're not going to really be able to convince them to do that. Like, you're going to have to force them to do that, which creates a whole other.
Oh, and they're going to create programs. Government can, instead of spending all that money on illegals, They can create classes to teach people how to do these jobs.
Exactly, because I have not run into in the real aspect of things, being out there in the streets and being a young buck and all that kind of stuff. I have not experienced. It's actually a very, very, very low minority of young people who just don't have a drive. It's more they don't know what to do with themselves. They have a drive, but there's no education that they've encountered that lets them know all the things they could go after. That's the biggest thing. Like, shoot, I had the handyman skills since I was 14, but it wasn't until I was 23 did I find out the money I could make with the skills. Like, that's just lack of education. It's ignorance. Like, you just don't know. And so
No,
when you do know, you have the ability to focus that drive that you have.
I agree to some extent, although I just think it's culture. Like, if you go up to like a recent high school graduate and say, "Hey, did you know that like you can probably make more or just as much money like in 10 years if you just go to trade school and become a plumber?"